Thank you, Andre.
Thanks, Gabrielle. And it's such a pleasure for me to be here. Just to let people know, Regeneration International, we are an organization of 400 partnership organizations in 70 countries. And we focus on agricultural systems that regenerate soil organic matter, soil carbon. And one of the things I just want to say, I'm just so delighted to be here at this event. I personally believe that December 1, 2015 should be one of the most important events on this planet. That was the original 4 for 1000 Day in Paris. And I'm very proud that I'm one of the original signatures on that document, and we will continue to support it. I think one of the really critical things I want to get across is where this COP is basically undershooting where we need to go. And I think Eduardo Mansour from FAO said it beautifully. This year in April, we hit a new record for carbon dioxide, 420 parts per million. If we go back to the records, the last time we came near it, and that was 380 parts per million, that's 40 parts per million less, was between 3 and 3.5 million years ago. And there, the science says, and this is very good science, published in the peer-reviewed journal Nature, the minimum temperature was 5 degrees warmer. It got up to 16 degrees warmer. And when they're talking about trying to keep things to 2 degrees, well, the evidence shows we're way past it. At that time, at 380 parts per million, sea levels were 20 to 30 meters higher than they are now. Think what that means to most of the cities in the world. Countries like the Netherlands and Bangladesh will disappear. And everything is getting worse despite the Paris Agreement. At the moment, carbon dioxide levels are increasing by 2 to 3.3 parts per million. This means at the current rate, if the world achieved net zero emissions by 2050, we will be at 500 parts or close to 500 parts per million. So we're looking at catastrophic climate change if we don't turn things around. What is very important to get across is that the emissions we have now, we call legacy emissions, they will remain in the atmosphere for hundreds of years before they naturally decrease. And in that time, they will continue to heat up the world. And I want you to imagine the amount of energy that we need to heat up the oceans and the atmosphere by 1.2 degrees. That's where we are now. That's the equivalent of billions of atomic bombs worth of energy. And I'm using this violent metaphor because this energy is violently fueling our extreme weather events. So we're seeing more storms, stronger storms, droughts, they're longer, forest fires, floods, crop failures. They're becoming more intense and more frequent. So what we need to do is turn this around, and ending fossil fuels and adopting renewable energy must be non-negotiable, but that is not enough. In fact, we need to draw down 26 gigatons of carbon dioxide per year in the atmosphere just to stabilize at 420 parts per million. If we can go up to 30, we can go negative. So what I'd like to talk about here is that it's business as usual in agriculture is no longer an option. We have to start looking at innovative best practices. And I want to give you an example of one. And this is evidence-based. It's based on good scientific methodologies. And this has been verified by the Australian government Soil Carbon Initiative. And this particular farmer has got 11.2 metric tons. That's what it's been paid for per hectare in 1 year, and then 13 metric tons the following year. And this is an innovative system. It's what we call no-kill, no-till pasture cropping. Instead of spraying out or ploughing out the pasture, graze it down and mulch it down, and then plant the cash crop or cover crop into it. And just as a back of the envelope, if we extrapolated that across global lands, we're talking about 55 gigatons. Now, that's just the back of the envelope. But what I want to do is show that we are getting good evidence-based systems, that we can store huge amounts of carbon in the ground and turn things around and bring back the climate the way it should be. So I'd like to end there and say, this initiative, 4 for 1000, is so important for us to restore our climate and our planet and our agriculture. So thank you.